President Muhammadu Buhari says he is determined to make Nigeria among countries counted as vigorously fighting corruption and have no tolerance for it. He said this while receiving the report of the Judicial Commission of Inquiry set up to investigate alleged infractions committed by the acting chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Ibrahim Magu. The president said no one is too big to be probed, as no individual is bigger than the Nigerian state. During the investigation, 113 witnesses appeared and testified before the panel, while 46 petitions and memoranda were presented by individuals and organizations with complaints against the suspended acting chairman, EFCC, or both. Mr. Magu was accused of corruption and abuse of office by the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami. Meanwhile, the chairman of the panel, Justice Ayo Salami, has recommended that the next head of the anti-corruption agency should come from outside of the police force. According to him, the 4 previous chairmen of the EFCC since inception were from the police, so an opportunity should be open to persons from other law enforcement or security agencies, as provided in the EFCC Establishment Acts of 2004. So, joining us to discuss this is social commentator and security consultant Darlington Umoru. Thank you very much for joining us at this point.
Good morning, Rama.
All right, so looking at this now, Justice Salami, the panel has submitted its report. And the president is saying that no one will be left when it comes to the fight against corruption. Looking at that, what do you think?
Well, what is important is that the government should do precisely what is provided by the Establishment Act of the EFCC. The Act also did not limit whoever is going to head the EFCC to the police. It talks about security agents. As well. Yeah. In this instance, whatever will come out of this report submitted by this panel is what is important. Now, I want to take us back a little bit. Okay. This is not the first time Magu has been investigated. I think if you ask me if I recall very precisely well, this should be about the 3rd. We've had the Presidential Committee on Audit of Recovered Assets. Yeah. We've also had the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit. These are other bodies that have, over time, investigated the EFCC and Magu and submitted a report. But what came out of those reports? Apparently, these are pointers. These are things that ought to have informed Magu that there was trouble. Again, you remember that when Mr. President submitted the name of Magu to the National Assembly for confirmation, the DSS submitted a report to the National Assembly, which apparently was considered and not was one of the reasons why Magu was not confirmed. Okay, well, if you put up together all of these reports, Magu should have known that the glass ceiling had a problem.
But this trial of Ibrahim Magu now, I will read something from Transparency International. He's saying that they're calling for public access to the trial of Ibrahim Magu, the suspended chairman of the EFCC. Now, they are saying that Ibrahim Magu there should be public access to his trial, and it should be transparent and all. Do you see this? Do you think that this is transparent enough?
It's not about being transparent. I like to also inform us that Magu is about the 4th person heading the EFCC.
Yes.
There has been no EFCC chairman, I repeat. There has been no EFCC chairman that completed his tenure. Right from the days of Nuhu Ribadu, no EFCC chairman. Beyond that, all of them were accused of one thing or the other, particularly as it has to do with corruption. But again, Elama, I ask you, amongst these 4 persons, let's even remove that of Magu now because it's still fresh, it's still on. The first 3 we've had, Nuhu Ribadu, Waziri, Farida Waziri, and Lamode. They were all accused of one corruption or the other, but I tell you, whom amongst these 3 was taken to court? Is it enough to set up a panel to accuse these persons and remove them from office? If you say you're fighting corruption, what have you done to these 3 persons that were accused and no rebuttal was only demoted?
So you think that taking Ibrahim Magu to a panel of inquiry is not the right thing to do?
I'm not saying it's not the right thing to do. I've said that we have had even 2 before now. We've also had the report of the DSS. I'm saying, what is the outcome? We all know that there are pointers to say that one of the reasons why Magu was arrested and taken before this panel was because of the quagmire or loggerhead between himself and the Attorney General.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Well, because some of these things were stated, because if you look at it, it said that aside from corruption, there was a case of insubordination, disrespect to the office of the Minister of Justice. And if all of this were to be put together, it tells you simply that it wasn't smooth. At a point in time, it was also alleged that when the Attorney General demanded for certain files from the office of Magu, they were apparently, well, allegedly again, they were not submitted to the office.
If the Attorney General is accusing Ibrahim Magu, his lawyers are saying something different. They are saying there's been no evidence of diversion or illegal sale of forfeited assets, no link of laundered funds by the senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, traced to him. No allegation of bribery established against him, no proof that the funds in the TSC account with CBN is missing, and no interest on funds lodged in TSC account with CBN.
All of these have been denied, but it is left for the courts to prove whether they are true or false. It's not enough for you to prop up allegations. It's not just enough. If you are saying all of this, it is the law courts that have the proper jurisdiction to actually prove beyond all reasonable doubts whether Magu is guilty of these offenses or not. But his lawyers have come out to often say that, no, Magu is not guilty. So, beyond the report, what is the government going to do? What is the government of Buhari? If he's talking about not tolerating corruption at any quarters, for goodness sake, there are 3 arms of government. There are 3 arms of government, and these 3 arms of government have their specific roles to play in every democracy. At this point in time, after the panel has submitted this report, it is now up to the government to prove beyond every reasonable doubt whether these things that are said are true or not. And
how will the government prove that?
The judiciary. Go to courts. It's not enough to throw bantams.
But if the courts now acquit Magu,
then he's not guilty. If he's acquitted by the court, then it means he's not guilty of those allegations.
The allegations? Because, like you have said, and it has happened before,
Magu also
DSS has raised issue against Magu's confirmation.
And the whole boil down around corruption. Those were the things you stated. There's no cause or need for me to go back to reiterate those things you have stated now. Those are basically the foundational problems. Okay? Beginning from the DSS, down to the PCARA, and down to the NFIU. And so, if Magu is saying, you are saying, I'm guilty of an offense, the man is saying he's not guilty of the offenses. So, now he has been removed. And I said earlier on that of all the 4 chairmen we have had for EFCC, none was not booted out. But what happened after they were booted out? Of course, you don't put people out without propping up some allegations. You think, well, if they are found guilty, if you say it's a body that fights corruption and in itself it's corrupt, what do you do?
So if, while the DSS, the NFIU and other bodies came out against Magu, bringing different reports, why did the president still retain him as the acting chairman of the EFCC? These were handwritings on the wall.
Well, unfortunately, I'm not the spokesperson for Mr. President. But if you ask me, Mr. President is known for one thing. If Mr. President gave you an appointment, it means he believes in you. Mr. President does not play to the gallery. He would not, he listens. He's a listening president. Over time, we've seen all of that proven. Okay? For instance, Magu is about the only EFCC chairman, if I'm not mistaken, that served for about 5 years in acting capacity. That's a record. Positively or negatively. If he went to the National Assembly and because of the reports of the DSS and it was not confirmed, the next assembly came. Let me tell you something, Elama. Some of us thought that when Magu was not confirmed by the last National Assembly, that it was mere witch hunting. But we also expected that the presidency will quickly pass on Magu's request again to this National Assembly for confirmation. But has the government done that so far? I don't think so, except if my memories are not right. I stand to be corrected. And so if the government has not really done that, it meant that Magu was under watch. And let me tell you something. The EFCC seat, the leadership of the EFCC seat is a very hot seat. It's very hot in the sense that because you have to step on so many powerful toes. Under Magu, I want to tell you that about 4 governors were jailed. You have the likes of Bala Ngilari, the former Adamawa state governor, who is serving 5 years jail term. You also have Jolly Yame, former Taraba state governor, who was given 14 years. Yeah. You also have Joshua Dariye, former Plateau state governor, who was given 14 years but reduced to 10 years now. And then you also have the Oji Uzokalu, who recently came back, and all of that. So if you look at it, beyond this, these are powerful politicians, and who are in charge. The moment you want to do your job responsibly, the way it is supposed to be done, you must step on powerful toes, and those powerful toes must fight back. And so you must be clean. He who must go to equity, they say must go with clean hands. And so at any point in time, if you have stains and traces, they will be used against you. I do not see and I do not know how for the 4th time, all the EFCC chairmen were never allowed to complete their tenures. Please check that. These are facts.
Are you saying Magu is a clean man?
I have not said so. I say he who must go to equity must go with clean hands.
No, because you just mentioned that he jailed some former governors.
I say all this, yes. It's not the first that has jailed some governors, but the truth.
It's a towering achievement for him.
Oh, well, you are saying that, but the truth is, it is not only governors that have gone to jail. Some very powerful persons have also gone to jail for corruption. Okay, but the truth is, if you must occupy that hot seat, you must ensure that the white you're wearing does not get close to palm oil. Don't forget that some of these accusations are not limited to Magu. There are also about EFCC officials and then Magu as the head. It's not as if they have been limited to just one man, the leadership of the place. So my concern is that if all of these 4 persons have been removed by executives that appointed them, why has none of them been taken to court? And why have they, in return, not taken the government to court? Have you thought about that? Yeah, we had the Nuhu Ribadu was even demoted, the first appointed by Obasanjo, who set up the EFCC. Okay? You know the story of Nuhu Ribadu, how he was removed and even demoted. And all of these 4 persons have been of the police extraction. And now perhaps that is why the Ayo Salami panel is considering that why not look at other security agencies? Why not consider the leadership of that? But don't forget again that both Lamode and Magu had grew through the ranks in the EFCC to get to that position. Okay, at the time they were directors, and then when you say who is the most senior person in the EFCC at the point in time to take over from the next person, man or woman who was leaving, of course they were all people who were already there in the system. Okay, but they are not the only ones in the system. Mr. President has said that he will not tolerate corruption, no matter how friendly you are to Mr. President. The moment you're fingered, you are allowed. Don't forget that some of us complained in the media where the way Magu was initially arrested at Area 2 in Abuja. Okay, it was something else. It was about the first. But later on, we got to understand that Magu had been given 2 invitations, which he turned down. Don't forget that day he was arrested, he was said to be going to, that was in June. He was said to be going for a meeting at the office of the IG, Inspector General. But they said, well, even when he insisted that, okay, so let me go, I'll come. They said, no, you have to come with us. And who were the people who were said to have effected the arrest? Members of the CIDs and the CID and The DSS, even though at the point in time the DSS said they were not the one who arrested him, but we know it's all politics. But one challenge I have is that both the DSS and the EFCC, apparently under the leadership of Magu, were never in good terms. Because come to think of it, why would sister agencies, I repeat, why would sister agencies, I'm talking about the DSS now, and the EFCC not be in good terms? They are supposed to be working together. Why would the DSS do a petition against Magu?
Who serves as the watchdog to the EFCC?
The EFCC is an anti-graft body.
Yes.
If the EFCC is an anti-graft body, you also have the other security agencies that are supposed to serve as watchdog. So
everyone is supposed to watch themselves.
Yes, but
possibly that's what the DSS is doing.
But you're not supposed to wash your dirty linens in the public. Ask yourself the question, why should it be the DSS? Now, both the DSS, the leadership of the DSS, the NIA, the EFCC, and all of that, they report to one office. The office of the National Security Advisor to Mr. President. So if all of them do so, wouldn't they have cleared or cleaned all of these things before going to the National Assembly to submit?
You're suspecting foul play?
Well, if you call it foul play, what I know is that something apparently is wrong with the relationship between the security agencies. So
it's a sour relationship.
I want to believe so.
Okay, so three groups in the UK, the Commander, Corner House, and Global Witness, are saying that Magu's trial may affect Nigeria's image internationally.
Of course, that of no rebuttal did. It's not the first time. So that's no news.
How bad will it affect Nigeria's image?
The extent to which it will affect the image of Nigeria is that the man fighting corruption will be seen as having been booted out by a corrupt set of people. Okay. Okay. Of course, don't forget that there are people who would not want Magu there. There are people who have suffered. Forces. Yes. Particularly, politicians are not left out. Who will do anything, who will go at, it's not only Magu, and it's not going to end with Magu. You're going to bring in another person that's going to be confirmed as the chairman of the EFCC. Would he go there and fold his arms? I just gave you a history that since inception, all of the four of them were booted out.
All right, thank you very much, Chief Darlington. We have to stop you there at this point. Thank you so much for talking to us on this lingering discussion.
Thank you very much. But Nigerians are watching. We are waiting to see what will come out of the Ayo Salami's report is what is important. And I know Mr. President, President Muhammadu Buhari, will apparently do something different from what we have had. Don't forget that Magu he appointed Magu. Yes, the other three were not under his government. They were not booted out during his government. But Magu's own is coming to the fore now under his watch. So whatever happens will go ahead to tell us whether truly that whatever he has said at this time, that nobody in his government that gets his hands soiled will be allowed to go scot-free.
Thank you very much, Darlington Umuri, for talking to us. Good